amigos, ¿cómo están el día de hoy? Yo soy Regina Escamilla y hoy estoy con un invitado muy especial, el talentosísimo bailarín, coreógrafo profesional, Mark Samuels.
What's up, what's up? Hola.
Hi Mark, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm really happy that you're here.
Bien, too.
Muy bien, gracias. Well, tell us about you, Mark. When did you start in the world of dance?
I started dancing when I was 13 years old. It was considered old to start, or late. Most dancers in Canada start younger, when they're kids, like 6 or 7 years old, because they go to dance studios that have training. So they'll go and learn jazz or contemporary or modern, and I didn't have that when I was growing up. So I ended up like watching music videos when I was younger, and I used to have like a VHS tape, and I would pause them to like learn all the dance moves. But yeah, I learned when I was like 13 is when I really like started to try dancing, like hip hop.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that you have been working with many artists, so can you tell us with which ones you have been contributed like a dancer?
As a dancer in Canada, I worked with a Canadian artist named Sean Desmond. I worked with another artist named Julie Black. There's another one named Keisha Shante. Those are just some off the top of my head of Canadian artists. And for American artists, I've worked with Missy Elliott.
Wow.
I've worked with an artist named Mario, Mary J. Blige, Mariah Carey.
Wow.
To name a few.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
And which one was like the one that you think it contributed the most in your professional career?
I have two. I would say for Canadian artists, Sean Desmond. We're good friends. We grew up together pretty much, or when he first started to sing in Canada. We met each other at like a young stage in his career. And so we were friends before we were like artist dancer, before I worked for him. But working with him and going on tour all over Canada contributed to my dance career, because I got to see how it felt to be a part of a show that traveled across the country, you know? And the same thing with the American artist that I would say is one named Mario. And Mario, we did a tour with him all across America, and we went to every single state. And so we had to prepare our bodies, we had to get enough sleep every day before each show. We always had to make sure our dancing was on point, you know?
Yeah.
I would say between those two, because we did so much traveling, those experiences really helped me and contributed to me being like a dancer that was like prepared for every show that came, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, I would say.
And now, in your professional career, how will you define yourself?
I would define as a teacher or a dancer.
Like both.
Or just both.
Yeah.
Okay. As a dancer, I consider myself very technical. I try to be very clean. I try to be like a clean dancer, and I've known to be that. But I'm also trying to let go of being clean and work on my performance aspect as well. I have a few friends that are great at that, and I use them as inspiration to like work on my facial expression, work on my like my performance as a dancer, and how I like the vibe I give off on stage versus me just being sharp and clean and perfect. which I'm grateful for, but having a balance is like the best dancer to me. As a choreographer, I consider myself, I'm not a super hard head, you know, like I'm not a mean choreographer, I'm not a drill sergeant, I don't yell. I do raise my voice if I need to, just to make sure we're all on the same page. But I'm lighthearted. I like to create a positive atmosphere in the dance studio or wherever we're rehearsing. And yeah, I consider myself more of like a choreographer that likes to interact with dancers and versus it being like I'm the boss and you're the student. You know, I like to create like an atmosphere where we work together and not against them, but not me on, me being the top and you being underneath. I like to create like a good vibe together.
Okay. And when you're dancing, what do you feel? And also what you transmit on stage?
Okay. It depends. It depends on the music and it depends on what you're dancing to or what you're dancing for. You know, different music makes you feel different ways, right? Like if you have a really aggressive song, you dance with a lot of anger. You dance with a lot of like your face gives off, the intense, emotion, and you feel that when you dance. If it's a happy song or a fun song, you smile and you like, you interact, your eyes are open, you're like playing with the audience. So it depends to me on the music. That will kind of tell how you feel dance-wise and what you project. And on stage, what you feel when you're on stage, or
what you transmit.
What you transmit. What you want to transmit is just like a conversation, You want to have a conversation with the audience as a dancer. You want them to know what your story is and the intention of these moves. Why are you doing them? Where is it coming from? Is there a connection between the lyrics and you and how you portray that, And I think that's the most important part about like permitting that kind of like language as a dancer. Like I feel like you have to have that understanding of why am I doing this? What am I doing as a dancer? And how can I translate that to you?
Okay. Yeah. What has it meant for you to become a choreographer?
I think it was a path that like I was put on. I think God chose that path for me, and said that I think he thought I was satisfied with where I was as a dancer and said, you know what, you have a skill when it comes to communicating with people dance-wise, and I think he put me on this path as a choreographer. So it's meant a lot to me because I can now share whatever information I've learned as a dancer now as a choreographer.
Okay.
So it means a lot to me. It means that I get to share my knowledge, my experience. I get to share, like whatever my experiences were, I can share that with the younger generation or whoever wants to learn. So it means a lot.
So what countries have you been able to visit so you can share your experience?
As a dancer and a choreographer?
Yeah.
I've been to Europe, I've been to Holland, I've been to Scotland, I've been to Bermuda, I've been to all of Canada, where I'm from, America. Just recently I was in Puerto Rico, and of course Mexico.
Yeah,
Of course,
Mexico.
So Mexico, yes.
And which of these countries was your favorite and why?
I'm not just saying this because we're in Mexico. right now, but I really have a soft spot for Mexico. I really have a lot of passion. I really have a lot of heart for Mexico because I've been here like 10 times, and I've taught in different parts of Mexico, like Cancun and Playa and here Puebla, Monterrey, and just the way the students receive me as a choreographer, and their appreciation for movement and their appreciation for having me there to teach them something that they might not normally have the opportunity to do or to leave to go to, say, America or Canada. The love and the happiness and the joy I see they get from it, like, means a lot to me, because it makes me feel like, you know, I'm giving them hope, and it makes me feel like I'm giving them an avenue and you know, a path that they can go down and hopefully do what I did and more.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. During your career, in what do you think the dance industry has evolved?
It's evolved in every way. Like, it's evolved. I think the biggest thing I would say is like social media.
Yeah.
Has really turned this industry into a whole new world.
Yeah.
Music is also a really big part that has also changed. We have lots of music that has now, like, music comes out every single day, and it's hard to keep track of it, at least for me.
Like new material.
New material all the time.
Yeah.
You have different mixes of songs, which is great. Like, you'll have a reggaeton song with a hip hop artist, and you know, and all these really cool like collaborations.
Yeah.
And yeah, the music industry just keeps like growing and growing. As for dance, yeah, I think social media is the biggest thing. Instagram is now one of the biggest outlets.
Exploring.
Yep, definitely. And YouTube. YouTube has also been a major change in the dance industry, because now you can no matter where you are in the world, you can post something and see how dancers are in, say, Russia, or you can see how dancers are in like Portugal, or how they are in like anywhere, like Africa, you know. So I think that our dance industry has grown, and it keeps growing, and it keeps growing, and it keeps growing, which is great, because now we all have exposure.
Yeah.
You know, and especially to urban stuff like hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I feel like for a long time, especially when I was growing up, hip hop was a smaller world. You know, it wasn't exposed as it is now. Now you say the word hip hop and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Hip hop is probably the biggest. No, not probably. It is the biggest genre of music in the world today. It's number one on every Billboard chart. It's the biggest.
Different moves.
Yeah.
They evolve.
Yes, yeah. Different moves evolve, but hip hop itself has now become such like the biggest industry musically and dance.
Okay.
Yeah.
From your point of view, what do you think of the dance industry in Mexico and in Puebla?
I think it's growing. I think it's still growing here. From the first time I came to Puebla, which was, I think, 2004, it's grown a lot.
Yeah.
It's grown a lot, and in such a positive way, in such a good way. I think that Puebla, it would be great to see a balance of teachers that can teach modern hip hop as well as old school hip hop and foundational hip hop. Because if we have this balance of it, I think we'll have a really good understanding of where hip hop can go in Puebla.
Yeah.
You know, I think we have great old school here, and we have some of the newer teachers, but I think if we can have a really good balance of both, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
You know? I think that more and more whether it be schools, students. I think we could have even more exposure of hip hop here in general, because I feel like people's impression of hip hop is like, ooh, hip hop is tough and it's gangster and it's meant for like bad kids and, you know, and like an old fashioned way of thinking of hip hop and urban stuff, but it's the furthest thing from the truth. Not even close, you know? And I think the thing that people forget is that like hip hop is movement, it's dance. It doesn't mean you're gonna go out and, even if the song says something about robbing or this, that doesn't mean you're gonna go out and rob a store or shoot somebody or steal or you know, or something drug related, or it doesn't mean that if you listen to it or you dance to it, you're gonna do that.
And you feel the music, know the lyric.
Yeah, some people feel both. Like I feel both. I feel the lyrics and the music, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to listen to it and do it.
Yeah.
Like we all have that choice as individuals to choose to do what is right. You know, and I think that if more people in Mexico, I'll say in general, have that understanding that this is movement. It's just dance, not just dance, but it is just dance. Yeah. It's dancing. It's your body moving in different ways. It doesn't mean that I'm going to do, you know, these crazy bad things. So I think if the understanding of what hip hop dance is bigger generally, if we can get that word out to people, then I think that it'll be exposed more, it'll be accepted more, we can get it in more schools, we can get more funding for it, we can get more sponsors for it, we can get it on TV here, we can get it in shows here, we can have artists perform, and it could be a bigger community, because it deserves to be a bigger community. It's the biggest style in dance. It's the biggest style in music today, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be the biggest here as well. You know, or at least like it needs to have attention. You know? And I'm a big supporter of it.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
To conclude, what recommendations will you make to all the people that want to enter to the show business and dance industry and want to be professional dancers?
I would say to train, you know, train hard. If you want to be a professional dancer, I would train in as many styles as possible, because when you go out there in the real world of dance and you want to take your game to the professional level, there are lots of auditions for different styles. You'll have an audition for ballroom, you'll have an audition to be, you know, they'll have salsa dancers, they're looking for salsa dancers, or they're looking for 7 dancers that can do jazz. And if the more dance vocabulary you have as an individual, the better chance you'll have at booking a job. And that's work for you, and that's money, and blah, blah, blah. So I would say train in as many styles as possible. And to now make sure that your Instagram is on point. You know, Instagram has now become your new dance resume, and choreographers, producers, directors, they might they'll look at your headshot, they won't really look at your resume. They might skim through it, but at the end of the day, they just want to see how you dance. And where's the quickest way to do that? Instagram. You go on Instagram, find the person's name, okay, let's see how they dance. So if your Instagram is a true representation of who you are, you have a better chance at getting work. So that's another piece of advice I would give to an aspiring dancer. You know, make sure your Instagram reflects who you are as a dancer. And Instagram is just another word for resume. You know,
the true dancer. They want to see the true dancer there.
Or just like, you don't want to have on your resume, on your Instagram, like pictures of your dog or you know, pictures of food. If a producer is looking to see how you dance, or a choreographer, they want to see it right away. You know, they don't want to scroll through and like try to find. Nobody has time for that. So I would say make sure you brand yourself as a dancer, you know, and maybe open up another Instagram that's personal for your personal stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I would also say to network, meet as many industry working choreographers as possible, you know, so that way they're familiar with who you are. Meet as many dancers as you can, so you can get all different vibes and different aspects of the industry. Networking is probably the most important thing. You know, I always say it's all about who you know, and not just what you can do.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these jobs are based on relationships. You know, if you have a good relationship with a choreographer and a good friendship with them, and they trust you and they get along with you, people want to work with who they trust. People want to work with friends. They want to be in rehearsal and laugh and have a good time, not, you know, stressed out thinking like, what is this dancer thinking?
Yeah.
Or, do they even want to be here? Or, you know, so developing those relationships with key people is important. And doing your research, you know, do your research on like, you know, whose class can I take that will help or expose me, you know, or I can like, where I can learn stuff, but as well develop slowly start to develop a relationship with that choreographer. You know, doing research on getting good headshots, you know, that's another requirement. You have to have good headshots.
Like travel and learn different styles.
Traveling and learning different styles of dance, for sure.
Okay.
You know? But yeah, I would say a combination of those things. You know, headshot, make sure your resume is popping. Network with choreographers, train in all different styles. That would be it, to sum it up, you know?
Okay.
Those are the main things I would tell dancers out there. Like, make sure that's like proper and you have a good chance of being exposed as a dancer.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Mark, for being here. I really love your work and what you do, and I hope that you enjoy here your stay in Puebla.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I love Puebla, and yeah, I plan to be back.
Yeah,
you know,
please.
Have a good time. So
We really love your job. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Nuevamente, gracias Mark por estar aquí. No olviden visitarnos en nuestras redes sociales. Nos encuentran como Hip Hop Dance Puebla en Facebook y en Instagram. A mí me encuentran en Instagram como Regina-ESR. Yo soy Regina Escamilla y nos vemos en la próxima.